What's up guys, Barry Game here, back with some more Idle Heroes. And have you guys been wondering how we build our first E5 heroes so fast in Idle Heroes? Heck, you might be a new player or returning player, because a lot has changed over the years in Idle Heroes. But today we're going to be talking about how to get to that very fast E5 hero in Idle Heroes, so you can start progressing in a bunch of different game modes. Now there's a couple things as far as, what to save, what heroes to go for, because those will really matter as far as your progression goes to get enough food to build your hero to E5. And on top of that, events and when you start the game severely changes what you're gonna notice compared to our free-to-play series and even like older free-to-play series that we've had on this channel. So hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. Let's go over the big tips on how to build your first E5 hero extremely fast, and I'm talking about 2 weeks. So first off, what I want to talk about, especially for those of you who are new to Idle Heroes, you might be used to other idle gacha games, but you've never actually played Idle Heroes. This one is very different from a lot of games out there. Instead of trying to build as many heroes as possible and going wide with all these different heroes, hyper focusing on one hero build at a time is what Idle Heroes is all about, and it actually helps you plan months ahead on account progress instead of like, well, next week's hero is gonna be the most overpowered hero. It's not like that. Surprisingly enough, a hero from 3 years ago, which is very easy to get free to play, is still the best first hero to go for. Now, that's the big thing that really matters, is when you start playing the game. And honestly, even if you have an early game account, if it's not super optimized right now, it's not a bad thing to jump into the server list and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna make a challenge. I'm gonna start on the newest server and I'm gonna see what we can do, because you guys can see how many servers there are. And even since we've been playing this account for about a month, and you can see our progression here, and there are already 6 more servers coming out because there's a lot of new players coming to the game. So starting on a newer account on a big event is one of the best things you can do. Christmas, Chinese New Year, which is coming up in 2 weeks, anniversary, even smaller events like Easter and Qixi Festival. All these different events give you tons of extra resources, but mainly Christmas and anniversary are the 2 best ones to start. Why is that? Well, it depends on what type of resources you're getting. Summoning materials, mainly these heroic scrolls, the first couple weeks of your account. Doing this during Christmas, Chinese New Year, anniversary are going to be the best outcomes, because normally you save resources months and months and months in Idle Heroes. However, heroic scrolls, using them on your first week is not a bad idea, because that gives you a ton of hero progression. As you guys can see, it can help get copies of the hero you want, because in the heroic summoning events, every other month is what we call a prey event, and prey events are basically ones that you get to pick the hero that you are summoning for. So that part right there is pretty straightforward. When you start really matters, because if you watch our Christmas 2023 free-to-play account, which is this one right here, is going to be a little bit more advanced than it would be, say, if you started this week in the game. So just be prepared. It might look slower than what we do, but we pick the most optimal time to start an account. You might be playing for some random amount of time, so the rest of these tips should help you out. That does segue into a really good part, and that is picking the hero to build as your first E5 hero. There's really 2 options. One of them, obviously, Eloise. This hero right now, I'll even hide the skin just so you guys can see what the hero looks like normally. Eloise is a Shadow Ranger hero, and she just is the best hero in the game to build as an E5. Better than the light and dark factions, better than anything else. She just simply is the best. Hands down, there are no competitors. Now, that doesn't mean she's necessarily the easiest hero to build, but if you're starting near or on big events, you should be able to get plenty of chests for her, which you'll get things like, these 5-star hero chests. You can pick pretty much any hero in the game. She's an older hero. You can tell this is the opposite order of release, going from bottom to top. That is very easy to do. And on top of that, big events give you puppet chests. These puppet chests can be used as food to level up these heroes. You can either use hero copies or you can use food to level them up. You'll also get these eminent chests as well that do include the light and dark heroes. However, they still have the Eloise in there as well. So picking the right hero is very important. It is much easier to do when you're starting on some sort of festival. However, if you are not starting on a festival, thanks to the newbie growth plan, there is a hero that you get 5 copies of, which can bring you to 10 star and make the build a little bit easier. And that is the Garuda shards that you're going to get. You're going to get 5 of them in total, which again will take you to 10 star. That means you only need 4 more to get her to E5. She's not the worst first E5 hero in the world. She's not the best. She's just the easiest to build. So if you start on a very random event, you're most likely going to make Garuda your first build. You can then eventually swap away from her in the future. That's a little bit more advanced when you have these soul symbols, but that is something you're not stuck with the hero. It is pretty simple to swap away, but if you had a choice, Eloise is going to be your best progression, because even at E3, not even E5, she's going to be a big meta hero for your account. Number 3 on this list is going to be free resources. So one thing you'll notice in game is there are a lot of exchange gift codes, CD key codes that we call them here in Idle Heroes. There is one every single month, which I believe there's actually only one active right now when you guys are watching this video. And that is the monthly one for January. So every single month, this is the one for January right here. We've already used it. You just paste the code in. It is cap sensitive, so you have to type, anytime you see a capital letter, it has to be a capital letter. It is case sensitive. This is going to get you a ton of free gems, cores of transcendence, which is a more advanced summoning method that you use once you have an E5 hero. But again, you want to start building those up. Now, gems is the big part. Occasionally, they give heroic scrolls as well. We usually have, Barry Gaming, our channel usually has another code during the month to give you guys during a big event. And then there's usually a 3rd or 4th random code depending on what's going on. So making sure you're cashing in all these free resources, mainly to get as many free gems as possible, that's going to help you do a bunch of things in big events. Now, big events is a good segue, because the next thing we're going to talk about is saving resources. Idle Heroes is very much a save type game. It's not like these other big games, AFK Arena, Raid Shadow Legends, where you just, oh, I got summons, I'm just going to use them right now. You save them up because during these events, we can kind of show you an example with Wishing Fountain. It's kind of a summoning event, kind of not. You get bonus resources for doing a certain number during that event. Now, we have a 4-week event rotation, which we'll be talking about a video for 2024 coming up here soon as well. If you guys are interested in the event rotation, we kind of have an older video you can probably find on the channel about Idle Heroes event rotations. It's pretty straightforward, but there's an event for Prophet Orbs, there's an event for Heroic Scrolls, there's an event for Wishing Coins, and then there's other events that you're simply going to use all your gems to try to accomplish. Saving to get those bonus rewards are very important, because it's one of the few ways as a free-to-play player to get the pay-to-win resources. Now, some of them are a little more advanced that you're not going to be talking about in the early game. You might have no clue what we're talking about by this Essence Sublimation Chest. This, again, is a very advanced resource well after you get your first E5 hero. Like I said, there's also other resources you get from big events like Cores of Transcendence and a bunch of other things that are going to help you out. But big thing is, beyond the first week, if you're starting on a big event, you might use some Heroic Scrolls. You save. There are some magic numbers you want to get up to. Usually want to try to have at least 1,000 Heroic Scrolls saved up. You want to get up to 640 Prophet Orbs, and you want to get up to 2,160 Wishing Coins. Those are kind of the thresholds in order to max out an event and hopefully get really good stuff at the holidays. And again, the holidays are typically some of the best events. Sometimes random events that pop up can be better, so you have to keep an eye out. Make sure you guys follow our Thursday news videos that we have every single week, and our event breakdowns where we tell you, is it worth going for? What do you need to get progression? All those types of things, so keep that in mind. Saving resources and building one hero at a time, very, very important. Now, as far as game modes that you want to actively be focusing on to progress is a little different from other games as well. Campaign is very much gated by your account level, and your account level has nothing to do with the overall power of your heroes compared to other games. This is going to be a very slow grind. Don't worry about this game mode. You should be able to clear just about every challenge you see very easily until you get way later in the campaign, but that's something to talk about 3 to 4 months down the road. It's nothing you need to focus on in the first 3 months of Idle Heroes. There are a couple game modes that you do want to push, one of them being Sealand. So getting to Sealand 20 is the first benchmark of progression in order to get a ton of 4-star hero shards every single day. This is going to let you build more food and of course build your heroes faster. Once you get to 21, the difficulty ramps up. Chances are you're going to be stuck at 21 like we are for quite a few months. You're going to hit another threshold at 25, 30, and 35 is the max. So 21 to 24 is difficult. 25 to actually it might even go to 25, and then 26 to 30 is really difficult, and 31 to 35 is even more difficult. But the main focus is for you to get 20 in every single faction eventually. But that's the reason why we say pick the right hero. Now Garuda, the hero that you can get for free, can do Sealand 30 or 20 in Forest. It's a little more difficult. Eloise can do it even at E3. That's why we build Eloise. She's just really, really good. The other game mode you can focus on is powering up your Tower of Oblivion. A lot of these stages are going to give gold and promotion stones to help build your heroes. Other rewards are going to be 5-star heroes, prophet orbs, heroic summoning scrolls, super wishing coins. All these things are going to matter. This is a slow grind because you can see we're still not even to level 650, which is the cap. But you want to push that as fast as possible. PvP isn't really something you care about. Aspen Dungeon you kind of care about, and again Eloise does work out pretty good, but that's a whole nother topic, a very different way you build heroes and focus on heroes to progress that game mode. That's not something I'm worried about. Sealand, in my opinion, is still the most important game mode to push for, which is why we go Eloise. Now, one of the last things I want to talk about as far as making sure you can start progression, there's 2 other ways to gain a ridiculously high amount of stats on your heroes. As you guys know, going for the pay-to-win artifacts from the special events are some of the best artifacts in the game, hence why they're called pay-to-win. Granted, they give them away pretty easily to free-to-play nowadays. There's other pay-to-win resources that are the more premium stuff, so you can get these much more often and easier. Upgrading your gear past 6-star is a huge boost. You can go over to the forge in the blacksmith, or sorry, the Grey Dwarf's Blessing, and you can take your 6-star gear and you can upgrade it to class gear. This gives it bonuses beyond what you've already seen, and then even beyond that you can take it up to a resonance tier, which these have even more stats, and you can hyper focus it to a specific hero to get additional bonus stats. So that is one way to get a ton of stats. Focusing on your stone, getting it up to a soul stone 3 as soon as possible, again, is a very huge bonus because you get percentage stats, which are some of the first ones you experience in the game. Very, very important. But beyond that, there's 2 other places to really, really focus. The old way of hyper focusing is going for an early monster, and the main part is to try to get as much power in this rune enhancement. In order to unlock that, you need to have your monster at level 120, and you need all 4 of the monster auras to be maxed out. The most important part is it gives tons of fixed stats. So fixed stats aren't multiplied by any of those percentage stats we see, but you get a ton of them and it increases stats. This used to be one of the most important things to focus on in the early game. Nowadays, if you start during a special event, you'll notice even us as a completely free-to-play account gets a lot of stats, a ton of fixed stats just from participating in the big events. You'll notice what we can see here, the fixed stats right here. I'll show you on our hero. Hit this little button here. You can see how much attack we have and fixed attack. We almost have more fixed attack than regular percentage-based multiplicative attack. So that's why it's so crazy. You can see right here too, a third of our HP is coming from that fixed HP amount that we're just getting from treasures and stuff. So that's something really important. But again, it depends on when you start your account if you're going to get those very early on. If you're not going to get them very early on, it really does make getting a monster very, very important, maxing it out very early on. The only other place I want to talk about stats is join a guild immediately. You want to join a guild and you want to go in the guild altar and fight every boss possible, because these bosses you guild coins. And what is important about guild coins? Guild tech. So this is going to be some of the biggest percentage stat boosts you'll see in the game. Like HP wise, you get 30 from this node, 20 from this node, and 20 from this node. So just from this tree right here, you're getting 70% additional stats by focusing on the streak. Getting the inner ring is important, and then working on some damage reduction against specific classes is nice to work on after that. So if you have any questions, make sure you guys hit me up in a comment down below. Let me know if this helps you out. Let me know if you have any questions, but typically if you're talking about any other hero besides Eloise or less optimal Garuda, you're just going a very suboptimal route and you're not optimizing your progress. So let me know what you guys think. Hopefully it helps you guys out. If you're new or returning Idle Heroes, hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know how long you've been playing, and I'll see you guys next time.